Well, I thought we were done for the night, but I'm not done for the night. We did the show. I did a 30-minute stream, or video rather, with Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk. I took my contacts out. I thought this was it, but major, major breaking news in the continuing and growing saga involving Donald Trump and Russia. I'm going to get to all the news. I will do my best to add the articles that I'm citing to the description for the video so people can get them. I think that'll be better than pasting them into the chat. Super chat is on. Feel free to start sending super chats about this or any other topic, and I will get to them as we go. Also, anybody who signs up at davidpakman.com/membership during the stream, live shout outs and thank yous forthcoming, all of the sort of normal stuff. A lot going on. A lot going on. So let's begin. Listen, before I get into the news, let's begin with I am having a hard time understanding how there are still, it's not that many people, but there are people who are writing to me saying, David, there's no Russia story, period. You might think that Russian interference didn't swing the election. You might think that it's not been proven that crimes have taken place in terms of the coordination alleged between Trump and Russia. But how can anyone think nothing is going on at this point? It's very, very weird. If someone can explain it to me, by all means, please do. So the latest breaking news is that we now have U.S. officials with knowledge of at least one of the investigations going on with regard to Donald Trump and Russia. That believe that the evidence now is beyond just circumstantial with regard to the potential coordination between Trump and Russia. I've added a CNN article, as well as I will add a Politico article to the description for the live stream, which you can check out. Let's start with the CNN article and see if we can make heads or tails out of what's going on here. Let me mute the tab because any number of ads could start playing at any time here. The FBI has information that indicates associates of President Donald Trump communicated with suspected Russian operatives to possibly coordinate the release of information damaging to Hillary Clinton's campaign, U.S. officials told CNN. Goes on. This is partly what FBI Director James Comey was referring to when he made the bombshell announcement Monday before Congress that the FBI is investigating the Trump campaign's ties to Russia, according to more than one source. Let me stop there. Was James Comey's revelation that there's an investigation happening done by the FBI into possible coordination by Trump and Russia, was that a bombshell to anybody? Because it was completely unsurprising to me. And I mentioned this on the program today. If you've been following what's been going on with Trump and Russia, the last thing you should be is surprised that the FBI is investigating the Trump-Russia thing, because it's obvious that the FBI should be investigating it. If you believe that it's always been a trumped-up liberal conspiracy or something, right, whatever it is that the crazy right believes, you also wouldn't have been surprised by what James Comey said, because you would think it's part of the conspiracy. So although it's being reported as a bombshell that we now have confirmation that the president, only 2 months into his first term, first and maybe only term, is being investigated by the FBI for possibly colluding with a foreign power, scandal of the highest level, it's not really a bombshell because any reasonable person would have assumed that that's what the FBI was doing. Okay, let's go on. The FBI is now reviewing that information, which includes human intelligence, travel, business, and phone records, and accounts of in-person meetings, according to those U.S. officials. The information is raising the suspicions of FBI counterintelligence investigators that coordination may have taken place, though officials caution that the information was not conclusive and that the investigation is ongoing. The White House did not comment, and the FBI has declined to comment. Sean Spicer saying, and he's right, one of the few things Sean Spicer says that is correct, investigating it and having proof of it are two different things. A law enforcement official said that the information in the hands of investigators suggests, quote, people connected to the campaign were in contact, and it appeared they were giving a thumbs up to release information when it was ready. U.S. officials do say to CNN that it's premature to draw that inference from the information gathered, since it is largely circumstantial. The FBI cannot yet prove that collusion took place, but the information suggesting collusion is now a large focus of the investigation. At every step, you have a contingent of people that continue to say nothing to see here. First, it was rumors. Then it was rumors with named allegers. Then it was rumors with named allegers with circumstantial information. Then it was confirmation that that circumstantial information is at least enough to warrant a federal investigation and a House Intel Committee investigation. And now we are going to the next level. Does anybody really think at any point now we're going to just back up and say, whoops, it was all wrong? Michael Flynn, who resigned in shame for lying about contact with Russia. Jeff Sessions, who has not resigned, but there's plenty of shame I would attribute to Jeff Sessions' actions, lied about 2 or possibly now we know 3 meetings with Russian officials. Paul Manafort, confirmed now to have received millions of dollars for over a decade, millions of dollars per year for over a decade, at least starting more than a decade ago, for spreading a pro-Putin sort of influence worldwide. How can anyone look at this and say the entire thing is fake? The entire thing is ultimately going to be found to not be a real thing. Politico article, which I also have pasted into the description for the live stream. Congressman Adam Schiff, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, said Wednesday that there is, quote, more than circumstantial evidence now to suggest that President Donald Trump's campaign may have colluded with Russia's attempts to disrupt the election, but he would not offer details. Quote, I can tell you that the case is more than that, to Chuck Todd on MSNBC. And I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. When Todd followed up, asking if he had, quote, seen evidence of collusion, Schiff would not say so directly, but insisted that he has seen some evidence that is not circumstantial. Again, quoting, I do not want to go into specifics, but I will say that there is evidence that is not circumstantial and is very much worthy of investigation, so that is what we ought to do. You cannot believe this, right? You can look at this and say, still not proof. At a certain point, folks, this is going to get to the point of it's going to deny that you've seen proof is going to be that to like people that deny that they've personally seen proof of climate change, right? Where we have a scientific consensus, but yet people can say, hey, you know what? I've not personally seen the effects of it. It's going to get to that point. It is abundantly clear. And this is a scandal of the highest order. And then there's sort of another thing that is also that also broke today, which is the Republican who's on this House Intel Committee for this Russia investigation, Republican Devon Nunes. It's been revealed that I mean, this is so complex. Let me paste this article also into the description just so everybody can have the information I'm looking at since we're chatting about it here. And I see we've got a lot of comments and we've got super chats and a whole bunch of stuff going on, which I'm going to get to. I'm going to sort of summarize what went on with Devon Nunes. Devon Nunes said that he has evidence that President Trump was surveilled after all. And this goes back to Donald Trump's claim on Twitter that Obama wiretapped him, something, of course, that President Obama doesn't have the legal authority to do, something which the FBI Director James Comey and NSA Director Michael Rogers said on Monday in a hearing. They have no evidence of actually having happened. Devon Nunes came out, and we now are putting together the timing. Any reasonable person would say the reason he came out with this is that all of this other stuff was about to explode tonight. He said he now believes that there is evidence that Donald Trump was surveilled. And what it actually appears to be, I've tried to parse through it, and we're going to get into more detail tomorrow. It seems that there may have been incidental surveillance of individuals associated with Trump that happened not because those associates were deliberately and directly being surveilled, but because foreign agents were being surveilled, and by virtue of having been in contact with them, there may have been incidental resulting surveillance of Trump officials, which of course is damning to Trump if this is indeed the story. And again, the details are still breaking on this, and we're going to get into this tomorrow. But that if I were Devon Nunes and I was trying to keep Trump safe, I would not be mentioning that individuals associated with his campaign were incidentally surveilled by virtue of surveillance going on of foreign powers, because that would mean that they were coordinating with foreign powers. Okay, so this is absolutely crazy. And of course, it would not at all vindicate Trump in terms of his allegations that Obama was surveilling Trump Tower. This is like saying, well, listen, I think most people get, I don't think I need to make an analogy here, but this is absolutely and utterly insane what is going on here. We're going to continue following it, and just stunning revelation after revelation. And what's abundantly clear now, because we've learned that Republican Devon Nunes from the House Intel Committee, he's been basically running to Trump at the White House, if not literally, figuratively, to keep him up to date on exactly what's going on. I was asked on a stream I did yesterday or the day before, do I trust that FBI Director James Comey is going to do a full, thorough, and honest, objective investigation of the Trump-Russia stuff? I said no. I hope that he will, but I'm not confident. I've also been asked on social media if I believe that Devon Nunes is going to conduct a full and fair and thorough investigation. And the answer was always no, and now it's abundantly clear that we need an independent commission to look into this, because you've got the guy. If you're going to conduct a fair investigation, it has to be happening independent of contact with the individual being investigated, in this case Trump in the White House. And to find out that Devon Nunes was running to the White House to keep Trump apprised of what it was that was coming up, absolute betrayal of trust, absolutely insane. And is America great again yet? Have 2 months and 2 days been enough to make America great again yet? And if not, tell me which of the scandals that has surfaced so far is the precursor to making America great again. All right, those are my initial comments on what's going on, and let me get to some of the questions in a super chat. Before I do that, I mentioned I would be doing live thank yous to people signing up for membership. Membership's our number one source of funding. We don't receive big advertising contracts from huge corporations. We've got a handful of advertisers, and otherwise we're mostly funded by individual memberships. And Dimitrios Niapis has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership, David Ricciardi, as well as Scott Chisholm. And thanks to Scott, as well as David and Dimitrios, we have a coupon code which saves you 40% off of membership. We had a major bonus show. We do a bonus show every day. It's an extra show just for our paid subscribers. We do it every day. And yesterday, the March 21st bonus show, off the charts. Ratings are off the charts, because I told what I can only describe as the St. Patrick's Day public urination story. So if you sign up, whether you use the coupon code or not, I highly recommend checking out the March 21st bonus show. Let's get to some of the questions happening in Super Chat. $5 Super Chat from Jerry Hickle, who says, any info on whether what Nunes said today was criminal or broke any security rules when he told Trump details on the investigation of his campaign? No. Most of what I said, most of what I know I just said, rather, about the Nunes thing. I don't know the legal implications, but you know what, Jerry? We're going to be covering this story tomorrow on the show, and I will look into that for you and everybody else in time for tomorrow's show. We've got a $15 super chat from Frank McWright. Frank saying, Supreme Court nomination. Republicans blocked Obama's nomination with an unwritten rule. How is this in any way legal? Was it more of just Republicans not working with Obama? Feels like something made up. I would encourage you, Frank, to check out the video I did today, which is titled, Stop Supreme Court Confirmation Until Trump-Russia Investigation is Done. There's a few different aspects to why I believe Democrats should use whatever mechanisms they have, and Republicans may be able to push it through, but Democrats should use every mechanism they have to block the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch, not the least of which is that once Republicans destroyed the process by saying, oh, it's Obama's last year, yeah, we're just going to wait. We're just not going to even hold hearings for Merrick Garland. Once that was done, Democrats have no duty to just go along with what Republicans want. They should absolutely object and force Republicans, as Frank is saying here, unwritten rule about nominations in the last year, force Republicans to either try to get in writing the rule about no nominations in the last term. If they're not willing to, means it can't really be much of a rule, put Merrick Garland up there for confirmation. If he fails, then Trump gets to pick. Obviously, neither are going to happen. Democrats need to do everything they can to block that nomination. I've got another $10 super chat from Frank McWright that I am going to get to. Frank says, I just heard you talked about the Supreme Court issue on the show. I stopped watching to join the chat, but I think it's still a good topic to go over again. Okay, so I should... I mentioned the video, even though clearly Frank was watching the video when he sent the super chat, and then he actually suggested I go over it again, which I just did. So we've got sort of like an Inception situation going on here with the super chats. But thank you to Frank for continuing to support the show in that way. Very, very much appreciated. Okay, I don't know at this point if we should dig into what is going on in the minds of those who believe that there's just nothing to see here with regard to the Russia story. That's one direction I could go now. I could also talk a little bit about what else is on tomorrow's show if people want. We could look at more stories related to what's going on with Russia. I have a bunch of different directions I can go, and I'm glad to take direction from the audience in terms of the direction that we should go first. A few other thoughts about next steps with regard to this Trump-Russia thing. If you believe that there's just nothing to see here, this is probably going to be pretty boring for you, right? Because you think that there's nothing to see here. And I guess I'm genuinely curious, what do you think all this is about? I mean, you've got countless Trump officials who have either resigned or probably should resign for lying about contact with Russia. Why lie about contact with Russia time and again if there isn't actually anything to hide? I mean, just none of this makes any sense. There's a bunch of other stories and little details as to the latest claims from Adam Schiff, as well as what's been going on with Devon Nunes. Casey Hunt from NBC News has sent a series of very, very interesting tweets that I want to sort of call to your attention. Casey Hunt tweeted at 4:35 p.m. Eastern earlier today. Nunes tells me he can't show Democratic ranking member Schiff any of the reports because Nunes / the committee doesn't have them in their possession. Also tweeting just minutes later, Nunes says he is waiting for an intelligence community official to send over the reports he says he was provided by a source. And this is part of the constant, I guess I would just call it mounting indication that Devon Nunes fundamentally cannot be trusted. And you know what? I wanted to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. When I started seeing his press conferences where he would come out and he seemed to sort of be making an effort to conduct a fair hearing and answer people's questions. He said they would look at all the evidence. He said, so far we haven't seen evidence of Russian collusion with Trump, but we're in the middle of the investigation. I really wanted to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but it is abundantly clear now that Nunes cannot be trusted. There is every indication that this move today to sort of try to, in a clumsy way, say he now has evidence that Trump was surveilled, but really he sort of inadvertently revealed that actually the way in which he claims Trump was surveilled was incidental because of foreign surveillance that was going on. If anything, it's even more damning to Trump. I mean, I don't even know if Devon Nunes gets it or understands why his allegation about the Trump surveillance only suggests that Trump was really involved. When I say Trump, I mean Trump or his team were involved in really sketchy stuff. It's all upside down. It's all absolutely upside down. And tomorrow we are going to be also delving into, I mean, it's like we could do an entire show on Russia-Trump revelations. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you, but we could. It's now been revealed and confirmed, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. I'll mention it again. Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, was paid millions. He was paid millions of dollars for helping spread a pro-Putin government sort of attitude, or trying to act on the behalf of Putin's government to improve conditions for Vladimir Putin. And a couple days ago, I'm not conspiratorial at all. This was just, I wasn't the only, I'm not patting myself on the back with what I'm about to say. This was being said by many people. Sean Spicer and others in the Trump White House started downplaying Paul Manafort's role, saying, Paul Manafort, he was an advisor, didn't really have much of a role here. And this was Donald Trump's campaign manager at one point. And I and others speculated that maybe there's something coming here with regard to Paul Manafort, which would explain why the Trump administration is trying to sort of, Paul Manafort, who is that guy? Oh, yeah, I mean, it's barely a blip on the radar. They were seemingly starting to create distance between the Trump campaign of last year and Manafort, because maybe something was going to break about Manafort, and indeed it did. And a memo from Manafort to Oleg Deripaska has leaked now. It's a disaster. The AP has reported on it, just for kicks, so everybody can see what source I'm dealing with here. This is the AP, right? This isn't some liberal rag. I will put that into the description so that people can check that out. Okay, Super Chat is open, and I am glad to continue answering questions from Super Chat. Of course, anybody, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how much you pay, doesn't matter if you use the coupon code IVoted17, all one word, all lowercase. If you sign up for membership during the stream at davidpakman.com/membership, I will give you a live shout out and thank you. And that is exactly what I am doing right now with Pamela Brooks. Pamela Brooks signing up at davidpakman.com/membership. That is exactly what I am doing now with Doug Bissonette, who signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Indeed, using the coupon code IVoted17. We are viewer-supported media. The way that we have a studio and vegan producer Pat, or as some now know him, Patrick Constantine Ford, or as some now know him, Keurig Pat. Call Pat what you will. The reason we have Pat and producer Noah Ferguson and everything that goes into making the show is mostly because of members that sign up at davidpakman.com/membership. And I'm going to get back now to the news. But also, I saw Diane Walker-Zell just signed up using the coupon code IVoted17, which it saves you 40%. You get 100% of the member benefits, including the bonus show, but you only pay 60% of the price. So that's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Other stories that we are going to talk about tomorrow. I care a lot about space exploration, NASA. People know we cover SpaceX and Elon Musk and plans to go to Mars, etc. I almost did a positive story about Trump tomorrow. I was going to come to you and say, hey guys, if Trump does something good, as I said on November 9th that I would do, I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to tell you. There's plenty to criticize about Trump. There's no need to hide whether Trump does something good. And I was going to say, Trump did a great thing. I read headlines which told me that Trump has authorized money for NASA and Mars exploration and blah, blah, blah. And it only took getting to probably the second or third line in most of the articles about this, as well as reading some of Elon Musk's recent comments on Twitter. Turns out that actually, as Elon Musk pointed out, Donald Trump has basically reauthorized existing NASA programs. The bill effectively changes nothing about what NASA's doing. Existing programs stay in place. There's no added funding for going to Mars. Elon Musk, completely correct. And by the way, this doesn't actually even provide the funding. The funding comes from appropriations committees. People saying, David, why can't you talk about the positive things that Donald Trump does? There's very few of them. And I was all ready to talk about one tomorrow. And unfortunately, it's not a positive thing. And honestly, who even knows if Donald Trump read what he signed or funded? The guy's clueless. The guy's absolutely clueless. Okay, we've got a $5 super chat from Frank McWright saying, that's for Pat's Dunkin' Donuts coffee, no hazelnut, though. Yeah, we are trying to put the kibosh on Pat going to Dunkin' Donuts, and, listen, this is a work in progress. It's a work in progress, and we're going to keep working on it. We have a $2 super chat from Andrew Lincourt, I don't see a comment or question, I see 3 white squares. And I don't know if that's some hidden meaning. I hope it's not some kind of hate symbol or the symbol for cuck or Jew cuck. But 3 white squares from Andrew Lincourt with a $2 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tomorrow on the show, we will also be talking about... this is a story... I have to be careful in how I sort of present this story. I am not someone who... So, for example, if you go on the Alex Jones InfoWars channel, unless something's changed, my belief is currently the position of InfoWars and Alex Jones is that the Sandy Hook mass shooting was a false flag attack. I believe perpetrated by the Obama administration as a pretext to collect people's guns, ban guns. Of course, no guns were banned, record gun sales under Obama, gun sales dropping under Trump. Okay, so the motive, if indeed that was the motive, has completely backfired. So I'm not a false flag guy. But what I want to address tomorrow is, if you believe in these types of individual incident false flags on U.S. soil as a pretext for passing some kind of legislation, or as a way to distract from scandals, maybe. This is a moment that is ripe for such a false flag attack. And again, I'm not saying that I believe any of these supposed false flags were false flags. In fact, I've been very clear that they're not, and I've debunked many of them. But what I am telling you is that if there were ever a moment in politics, 2 months and 2 days into a presidency, confirmed FBI and congressional investigations into whether you achieved the White House by colluding with a non-friendly foreign power. Obamacare repeal replacement, explosive disaster. I mean, totally abortive, explosive disaster. We'll see if we even get a vote on it tomorrow. Even if it passes the House, it's not passing the Senate, right? So if there were a moment where a White House might want to, recognizing that when 9/11 happened under George W. Bush's watch, the country rallied behind him, and he reached, I don't remember if it was 88 or 90% approval, very, very high level of approval. There's evidence from the past that when there are attacks against the U.S., assuming you don't do something insane like attack a country that didn't attack you, Iraq instead of Saudi Arabia, that the country does rally behind you. This moment, folks, this moment in time is completely ripe for a false flag attack as a pretext for raising your approval rating. I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm not saying that Trump is planning a false flag attack. There's evidence that whether it's Iran or North Korea, that there's an interest in sort of creating a military intervention under the guise of national security, which certainly could be used as a distraction. But we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, okay? I think that this is something important to talk about. Okay, we've got a $2 super chat from Jaitup. Thank you very much. We've got a $2 super chat from Andrew Lincourt saying, I guess drum emojis don't come through. Yeah, if you were sending drums, by all means. I've got my practice snare drum in the background. It did not come through. $2 super chat from MV saying, thanks for all you do. Thank you for watching. A $7.22 super chat from GameFire74 saying, how can the U.S. protect itself in the future from cyber attacks? Could this conflict escalate into military action of some sort? War, as we know it, has changed drastically over the last 150, 100, even 50 years. And drone warfare, unarmed aerial vehicles have changed what war means significantly. And I believe that cyber hacking, cyber attack technology, hacking, information warfare, great interview, by the way, on our channel about information warfare. I encourage you to check out. I would not be at all surprised if in the next, I don't know how long, could be 5 years, could be 10, could be 20, we saw a military engagement, what we would call colloquially a war, that was catalyzed by a cyber attack. I don't know how the U.S. can protect itself in the future from cyber attacks. We've got interviews planned with the experts to discuss that issue. We've got a $2 super chat from Andrew Lincourt saying, my drums are being censored, fake news. I would add to fake news, sad, low energy, exclamation point. $10 super chat from David R. What will it honestly take for the American people to wake up, start paying more attention to civics rather than reality TV, and demand Trump improve or resign? Okay, so I'm not often, I guess what you would call, optimistic about media literacy and people's understanding and engagement with what's going on. However, I am inspired somewhat positively by the huge growth that our show has seen, and other progressive shows, since November 8th, and particularly since January 20th. I announced very early this month that in February we had 523 new paid subscribers to our show. For some outlets, maybe that's not a lot, but our previous record for new paid subscribers in a month was in the low 200s. Okay, so we more than doubled that. We had our best month ever on YouTube in February of 2017. February being the shortest month, being early in the year. It's usually the worst month. Advertisers often save their budgets for the end of the year. Best month in history for the David Pakman Show on YouTube. Best month in history for the David Pakman Show on the podcast. Somewhere around 300,000 downloads of the 1 hour podcast in February. So to some degree, David, I think that what's going on right now is waking people up. Now, yeah, there's committed Trumpists who, as we've said before, Trump could shoot people on Fifth Avenue. They don't care. They're going to stick with Trump. But the approval rating of Trump dipping in the Gallup Daily Tracking Poll to 37% a couple of days ago, that tells us that that base, that committed low information Trumpist base, may be significantly smaller than the 40 whatever percent of people it was that voted for Donald Trump on November 8th. So I'm hoping, David, that we are starting to see people wake up. And I predict that we are not too far from... People have been calling for Trump's impeachment and resignation since before he was even inaugurated, right? But I think we're going to start seeing more serious and credible calls for impeachment and or resignation probably within 6 weeks. Again, this is just me charting how things are going, and we will see. I want to say a few more thank yous to new members that have signed up at davidpakman.com/membership while I've been chatting. I will remind you again, the first thing I would do when you sign up is go to the website, go to the member content portal. When you're a member and you're signed in, at the top, a new menu item appears, which is member content. Go to member content 2017, go to March 21st, and watch the bonus show. I told what I am describing as the St. Patrick's Day public urination story, and people are loving it. A lot of emails about that, and it all relates to an email I posted to my Instagram account, david.pakman, on Sunday. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I'm actually doing, I committed to doing more paintings. That painting in the back is some of my earlier work from 2016. It's pretty atrocious, but I actually got a painting book, and I am going to be doing a painting soon, and it will appear on my Instagram, which is david.pakman. Okay, I got distracted there. Jennifer Rhodes is a new member at davidpakman.com/membership. Brian Colburn is also a new member at davidpakman.com/membership. And Aaron Jaramillo has also signed up using the 40% discount code. We're talking about $3.60 a month if you use the 40% coupon code, or $3 a month if you pay for the entire year at once. Okay, let me, what did I want to get to next here? By the way, how many people watching now are in Europe? It must be very, very late at night in Europe. I see Nina Lisa saying it's 3 a.m. where she is, and she is up watching the live stream. Who else? Anybody else? Oh, by the way, but let me just I don't know if I should really be. By the way, should I, when I want to be sincere, should I pull my glasses off and take a different look? I see that move done a lot. I did a 30-minute video with Kyle Kulinski earlier. And one of the things we talked about was a Vice article which stated that right-wingers dominate left-wingers on YouTube. And Kyle and I talked about how the article cited no evidence and a bunch of other stuff. Check out the video. Paul Duffy just put a comment that says, Steven Crowder has twice the subscribers you have, LOL. Listen, I want to address something real quick. Let's play a little game, okay? Actually, I'll just paste a link for you into the chat to show you something. And this is not a penis size contest, okay? But if you're going to tell me as something to make fun of me for that someone else has a bigger or more successful YouTube channel than me, you can't go by the number of subscribers, because the way YouTube channels work is you get paid based on the number of views, right? The number of people that are watching your videos. I could have a million new subscribers right now, and it wouldn't do anything for me unless those people were watching videos. So just for kicks, I'm going to paste a link into the chat here. This is a Social Blade link comparing our channel to Steven Crowder's channel. And as you can see, on subscribers, under rank, information, and basic data, Steven Crowder is crushing us on subscribers. If you switch to the views tab, you might notice that we are significantly ahead of Steven Crowder, right-winger, in terms of people watching videos, right? And you know, I don't really care. I've seen one video of Steven Crowder's before. I've accidentally come across videos of Steven Crowder since people have been telling me how he's crushing me on YouTube. But seriously, if you're gonna make fun of me because someone else has a bigger YouTube channel, at least point to someone that has a bigger view base, because subscribers are not views. Okay, I apologize to people who don't care about that distraction. And we can get back to stories we're looking at for tomorrow. Possible stories for tomorrow. So I've already sort of previewed the things that will definitely be on tomorrow. The breaking news from Adam Schiff and Devon Nunes regarding the Trump-Russia investigation. We're going to talk about what I thought was going to be a positive story about Trump, actually a negative story regarding NASA funding. We're going to talk about the Paul Manafort revelations. I'm looking at, and the if there was ever a time for a false flag attack, it would be now story. There is, so I don't know if you remember, this is kind of a weird story. Near the time of the inauguration, a story broke that the Trump administration wanted like a big military display reminiscent of Iran or North Korea, tanks and military equipment, etc. And it was denied by the Trump administration. They ultimately came out and said, that's bogus, fake news. We never actually were looking at this big military display. We didn't want that. Emails have now leaked which confirm that, yes, Trump transition team officials were asking for a big military display. At least Donald Trump wanted that. So yet again, a story called fake news, completely real news. Also, and for the Drain the Swamp crowd, or the hashtag MAGA crowd, Make America Great Again, Donald Trump is filling Pentagon and Homeland Security positions with defense contractors. I don't know what Trump meant by draining the swamp. I don't think his supporters came away believing that it was going to be former Exxon CEO as Secretary of State. And I definitely don't think that what they meant was Pentagon and Homeland Security positions being filled with defense contractors. So that's another story that I am looking at for tomorrow. I also would like to, and the problem in the era of Trump is we have just, too many stories to cover. Donald Trump promised big spending on infrastructure, which in itself was weird because Republicans are usually against that. But then he released his budget, and his budget actually cuts infrastructure spending overall. So it's a sort of cyclical chain of lies, distortions, and whatever. So those are some of the stories I'm looking for tomorrow. And of course, 4 a.m. tweets from the president often change everything and completely force us to restructure our video. Let me get to some of the super chats that are going on here. Ian D sent a $2 super chat. Update on hiring someone for activism organizing. So I addressed this on a recent live stream. We recently did a fundraiser. We didn't raise the full amount that we wanted. So we are sort of picking and choosing what we want to do and what we are going to delay doing for the time being. One of the things we're doing as far as the progressive activism position is we're going to roll it in to a new hire that we're in the process of, which is a marketing social media outreach position. So because we didn't raise the full amount of money that we wanted to raise, it's not going to be a standalone position, but it's going to be integrated into a new outreach, social media, and marketing position. So there's that. We've got a $5 super chat from Kingsley DeJenga saying, Nina Lisa probably lives on benefits. I have no idea what that means. I genuinely have no clue whatsoever what Kingsley DeJenga is talking about. Then going on to say, by the way, Alex Jones's official position is no longer false flag on the Sandy Hook attacks, I believe Kingsley means. He says that the original statement of a false flag was a hypothesis. All right, well, I guess now we can trust Alex Jones. But no, I'm kidding. It's good to know what his current position is. £5 British super chat from Stabby666. Maybe Crowder has lower views because the type of person who subscribes to him is the type of person who spends their time trolling other channels. Yeah, it's possible that Crowder supporters go and subscribe to his channel but then come and troll mine. And while they're trolling me by saying that I'm a Jew cuck or whatever, videos play and they're helping to increase our view count. Very, very interesting hypothesis there from Stabby666. Okay, a couple things on the YouTube channel I want to draw your attention to that are interesting, and I would say not right now, but maybe once the stream is over, you could check some of these things out. I did a 30-minute chat with Secular Talk's Kyle Kalinske earlier today. The video is called Are Left-Wing YouTubers Getting Dominated? You can check that out on our channel. I think you'll find it interesting. Always good to chat with Kyle. We also have a story I teased yesterday on the YouTube channel. It's live right now. The title is, Fox News Caught Scripting This Debate. And what we found in looking at a video of a so-called debate between Lisa Booth and Simon Rosenberg during the Happening Now program on Fox News is that the things that Lisa Booth was saying in an ostensibly unscripted debate were showing up on the screen, on the graphics, as or before she was saying them. And based on my understanding of time, I don't know how that's possible unless this is not really a debate, but rather scripted reading of debate-like talking points. And that would be odd, to say the least. Okay, so I encourage you to check out that video once the stream is over. Big thank yous to John Hall. I don't know if I mentioned John Hall before, but John Hall has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Sean Webecki, using the coupon code IVoted17 to become a David Pakman Show member. Thank you, Sean. And Mark Rupp, who has also used the coupon code IVoted17 to sign up for membership. Okay, we are moving right into preparing tomorrow's show. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up tonight, and we will talk to you on the program tomorrow. Thanks to everybody who watched. Follow me on Instagram. My new painting that will be hopefully better than this one will be posted to Instagram very, very soon.